Hello, I'm Chef Joe, and this is How to Cook Pork Chops. Today we're going to cook center cut breaded pork chops. Now I'm using the center cut pork chop, which is a boneless pork chop. Sometimes it's called the American cut pork chop. I'm going to bread our pork chops by using the standard breading method, which consists of flour, egg, and either breadcrumbs or, in this case, panko breadcrumbs. Now there's a few steps I have to do first. We're going to flavor the panko breadcrumbs. These are just non-flavored. I'm going to add a little bit of chopped fresh parsley and an Italian seasoning herb blend. Then I'm going to beat our egg. I'm using just one egg. I'm going to add a little bit of water just to thin the egg out a little bit. Next, I'm going to season the pork chops, and I'm going to use an adobo seasoning blend mix. Now, this is my own special blend of adobo. You can buy adobo seasoning mixes off the shelf at the supermarket, but there's usually plenty of preservatives mixed into this. Mine has no preservatives. It's just all natural ingredients, salt, garlic, oregano. And so I'm just going to sprinkle this on our pork chops. Both sides. There we go. I'm also going to sprinkle a little bit in the flour. So everything really has a layer of seasonings. Okay, next what we're going to do is we'll take our pork chop and we're going to dredge it in the flour first on both sides. Press it in there, dredge it in the flour, and then knock the excess flour off. Next comes the egg mixture. Dip it in the egg mixture on both sides. Let the excess roll off. And then finally into our panko breadcrumb mixture, and we're going to do that on both sides as well. Now let's do the other one. First the flour. Then the egg. Finally, the breadcrumbs. I'm using a cast iron skillet. You can go ahead and use a non-stick skillet if you prefer. My skillet has been preheating to a little bit above medium heat. I'm going to add some canola oil and spread it around to the bottom of the pan. Now I'm going to add my pork chops. And we're going to let them brown on each side. I'm only doing 2 pork chops, so I'm not overcrowding my pan. If you're doing more than 2, say you're doing 4 or 5 pork chops, you don't want to put them all in there at the same time because that'll overcrowd your pan and it'll actually lower the temperature of your pan. So try to stick to a smaller number and cook it in smaller batches. Now we're going to let this cook and brown on side 1. Okay, it's time to turn. You can see that by looking at the bottom edge that they are browning. So it's time to flip them over. They have a nice crust going on them. And then we're going to let side 2 cook. Now the nice thing about using a panko breadcrumb is it's a softer breadcrumb than the regular breadcrumbs that you might use. They're what chefs call new breadcrumbs, and they're less likely to burn when you're frying. Okay, now both sides have browned. I'm going to transfer the pork chops to a oven-proof casserole, and we're going to finish them off in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. The perfect side for our breaded pork chop is some mashed potatoes. This is Chef Joe, wishing you good eating. How to Cook is brought to you by CookingEDU.com.